Namaste yogis, and welcome to another edition of Yoga Fit. Today we'll be working into hip mobility, focusing on what I think of as the holy trinity of asana, so balance, flexibility, and strength. Today's class will be a little more advanced, so be prepared to slow down if you need to, grab a towel, maybe have a bottle of water nearby. I would suggest anyone with tight hamstrings, go ahead and grab a strap, especially if you have an infinity strap. It's really nice for big toe pose when we're standing. Otherwise, a belt or a scarf will work. We will begin in wide leg child's pose. So just journey to the mat, pause if you need to, take a moment to get unrolled, big toes together, knees will come wide, and then we'll wander the chest down. Begin to extend the arms out nice and long. And if it's your first time on the mat today, maybe bend the elbows, bring the arms wide, expand the chest. If you've practiced and you need a little bit deeper movement today, crawl the fingers away from the body, sit the hips back onto the heels, and just begin to take those few breaths that really call us here to the mat. The big, long inhales that help us call our awareness to the mat. And those long, exaggerated exhales that begin to surrender ourselves here to this space. I always think of the mat as the fortress in our lives. We step on it and everything else just fades away. Or at least that's what years of practice and patience brings you. So if it doesn't quite feel like you can shut down your mind yet, just focus on those long breaths. And notice how each one comes in, and as it leaves, that to-do list is a little less important. Responding to our texts, our emails, a little less urgent. When we start to disconnect from everything else. It's finding the balance between our energetic practice, bringing mind, body, and spirit into one space. And keep the arms extended or wander them out if elbows aren't straight just yet. And then slide the left elbow under left chest, almost like you're going to press left side into a plank pose. Bring right temple to the mat, and then press left shoulder back and away as you ground down firmly with right arm. Trying to press from fingertip all the way to underarm on that right side, while continuing to pour a lot of strength into that left hand, rolling left shoulder back. And then maybe stay here or take that left hand, bring it to the sacrum, press and open the shoulder, continuing to ground down with the right arm. Some of you may be able to reach all the way around, take a hold of right inner thigh, and peel that left shoulder back even more, feeling left chest open wide. Relaxing left hand from wherever it is, reach it long out onto the mat. Press the whole of left arm in as you drag right palm under right shoulder, and we'll do that on the opposite side. So left temple connects to the mat, right hand grounds down and presses in, like the right side of the body is trying to come into plank as the left side of the body is just extended and grounding, keeping us from rolling onto our left side. Maybe staying here or journeying with our right hand towards our low back, pressing here, rolling shoulder back as we use that to slightly press tailbone away from the center body. Again, maybe you're here and you're happy, or you creep crawl the hand all the way around to the inner thigh and use that to peel the shoulder away from the mat even more. Relax the right hand back down onto the mat. Gaze forward, chin comes to the mat, and then slowly keep the big toes together, but slide the chest all the way forward. Hands come underneath the shoulders. We press up, gentle cobra. Exhale, hands to the mat, forehead to the mat, and roll all the way back, child's pose. We'll take that again. Inhale, slithering out, taking it nice and slow. Toes disconnect from the mat. Chest lifts up. Maybe head travels to the toes. Toes travel toward the head, but not touching just yet. And then press hips back to heels. One last time. Crawl your chest as close to the mat as you can. Press into the hands. Before you lift up, wiggle the hips down the mat. Curl the toes into the hips and then slide the hands halfway down the chest. Taking a big inhale as you press into hands, let that breath go. Look up, squeeze toes, and then release. Allow chin or forehead to the mat, release the toes, flex through the feet. So tucking the toes under, balls of the feet connect to the mat. Lengthen the back line. Maybe you press up into plank here, or you return to child's pose, moving through table. We'll all wind up in downward facing dog any way you like. So if you're coming into plank, press down through the hands. One strong line lifts up. Tailbone curls to the sky. Chest press back, hands to the mat firmly. Feet on the mat firmly. Feet are a little bit wider here. And just begin to pedal through the feet, pedaling through the knees, feeling out your body here in space. And then walking the feet into neutral. Start to find your strength in downward facing dog, pressing the earth away, shoulders pulling onto the back, clavicles are reaching away from one another so the collarbones are nice and broad and the tailbone is lifted towards the sky. On an inhale, pick the right foot up, lift it straight back behind you, and then bend the knee, open the hip. As you do, make sure that right shoulder stays connected towards the ground. So it's like right underarm wants to touch the mat just as much as right hand. Be careful not to sink into the shoulders here. And then extend right leg, square hips off, ground down through left heel once more, and then open the hip with a straight leg, continuing to rotate right underarm down to keep chest square. On an inhale, expand right toes out to the right, and then make a big half circle, dragging the foot all the way over to the other edge of the mat. Tap the floor. And inhale, come all the way up and over. We'll draw those half circles twice more. Big inhale lifts up and over. We're just taking the hip through a range of motion we normally do by drawing circles with our knee. One more time, up and over. Resting in 3-limb dog, flex through the foot, turn the pinky toe down, left hip is on and aware. Bring the right foot down to the mat. Bend both knees, sink the chest back towards the thighs. Roll the heels over to the right and then sink hips nice and low. Inhale, knees to center, tailbone lifts high, straighten the legs, down dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Bend the knees, chest towards the thighs, heels rotate towards the right edge of our mat, and hips come down. 1 more time. Inhale, knees to center, press tailbone nice and high, straighten the legs, exhale. Last time, bend knees, drop hips, and roll heels over to the right. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale, back to center. Pedal out the legs. Take a moment. Breathe. In downwards facing dog. Starting to take 5 breaths here. And maybe downward facing dog is a bit too much after all of that shoulder work. And we come into child's pose for a few breaths. And as you're there, I want you to take just a moment. Ask yourself, do I feel like my physical practice leans more towards balance? Do I feel that I'm more flexible? Or do I have strength? All of us tend to have at least one that's really strong in our practice. Maybe we have a little bit of the other two. Maybe we're working on the other two. So today, we're really going to move through some things that are going to test us in all ways. After that 5th exhalation, just begin to float left leg nice and high, keeping the hips square, chest square, bend the knee and open the hip. Press back through that right hip. It wants to turn forward towards the chest. Don't let it. And then inhale, square the hips off, pinky toe down, and open the hips with a long left leg. Press that left underarm down to keep it nice and level. And then bring pinky toes back to center. On an exhale, bring the left leg out to the left. Bring it all the way down to tap the earth. And then we'll take those semicircles here, allowing the left leg to come up, over, and tap the right edge of the mat. 2 more times, lifting up, squeezing left side waist to land, and then picking it up. Feeling that happen in the hip. And as we're moving through this, again, I want you to notice where in the hip this feels the most sensational. Are there any sticky places, any crunchy places? Or does it seem like the head of the femur just moves through easily? Last time you tap the earth, lift it back up to center, square the hip off, squeeze inner thighs, land left foot down on purpose. Take that soft bend of the knees, sit the hips back towards the heels, move heels over towards the left this time and sink hips as low as they'll go. Inhaling back to center, downward facing dog. Exhale, bend knees, lean heels left, sink hips back. Big inhale, downward facing dog. Last time, exhale, bend knees, rotate heels to the left, sink hips nice and deep. And then inhale, downward facing dog. And starting to settle into the body here. 5 breaths, just as before. If you need child's pose or table or a sip of water, whatever you need, take that. You can make some movement. Big proponent of constantly moving the body. Stillness is great, and we can take stillness in our yin and our restorative practice. But in our yang practice, it's okay to let that energy move through us. Be here for that last breath. Seasoned practitioners, float to the front edge of your mat. Otherwise, pick the left knee up into chest. Land the left foot to the outside of left hand. Shift weight into the left foot. Pick right knee into chest and land that right foot to the outside of right hand. As you do, start to sink the sitting bones nice and low, finding our way into our yogi squat or malasana. If hips aren't quite ready for this yet, you can be higher. You can be all the way up here if that's where hips are right now. And take it to a place that makes sense for you. Settling in, rock forward, back, side to side, trying to find all 4 corners of the feet on the mat. As you do, lift up the toes and then press them down one at a time, firming in, helping our balance here. And then getting into our strength, lift the pelvic floor. So pull everything up and in, feel buoyant through the center body. On an inhale, expand hands forward, and then exhale them wide. Inhale, fill the chest. Exhale, wrap right arm under left. Strong yogis maybe staying here or allowing the arms to wrap right and left. On an inhale, ground down through the feet strongly. Pick the hips up in line with the knees. And then exhale, come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, press. Exhale, sink. One last time. Inhale, lift, squeeze, hold. And then exhale, release. Allow the hands to unwind. Take fingertips to the mat. And then simply roll right and left, letting the balls of the feet disconnect, heels disconnect on the other side, and just feeling ourselves in a little bit of movement. Releasing feet down to the mat. Fingertips stay connected, and we'll ground down through the hands to pick the hips up. Feet are parallel with one another. Toes will point in slightly. Heels will stay out.
And we'll reach for opposite elbows as we let the crown of the head just fall towards the mat. Shake out the head here. That might have been a lot on shoulders. Maybe sway a little side to side. And then eventually release hands to the mat. Walk them forward just under shoulders. And on an inhale, halfway lift. Hands stay down, tailbone stays back. See if you can bring the hips over the heel so that we're evenly distributing weight between hands and feet. Keep the hands here. Exhale and fold. Look back behind you. Relax the neck. Inhale, press and lift. One more time. Release down. This time, take left hand to the left outer hip. Hold on with fingers as left thumb connects to hip crease. Press down with the right hand, still in front of that right foot. Inhale, press and lengthen. Exhale, roll the left hip back as you roll left shoulder back. Move the right shoulder away from the right ear. Release on an exhale. Take left hand back in front of left foot. Right hand this time, fingertips to the glutes, thumb to the inner thigh crease, and press the hip back as you roll right chest open. Taking an inhale here. And exhale, release. Allow the hands to come back down to the mat. And bend one knee and then the other, just getting out of any tension we've created there. Allow left foot to stay where it is. Walk the hands back just in front of the feet. Bend the right knee, pick it up into the hip, and then step it back wide towards the back right edge of your mat. Shimmy the leg back as far as it needs. Hands connect to the mat. Maybe they're on blocks if you need. Turn left toes out, and then bring right knee down to the mat. Keep the right toes tucked to help keep that right side active. As soon as you get that right knee to the mat, start to engage through the glutes. Notice how as you engage right side, left side hip starts to open a little bit more. Bring left hand to the left inner thigh. Use that as a place to press gently to open left side chest. Look back over the left shoulder. Maybe stay here or press in with that left knee so you feel some pressure forward and back. Ground down through that right hand even more and then twist even deeper, trying to bring right rib cage over to left thigh. Releasing your left hand back down to the mat. Walk hands forward a half step. Continue to tuck those right toes, but heel toe the left leg towards parallel to the front edge of your mat. So right or left shin is parallel to the front and right leg is reaching back behind you. Still tucking those toes, start to walk hands towards thigh and foot. Maybe stay here. Evaluate here. If you need a block, shimmy it right underneath that left hip. Otherwise, we're going to take 3 active pigeon lifts. So as you're ready, inhale, hands come up overhead. Interlace your fingers and extend your index fingers, Kali Mudra. We're signifying Kali's great sword for vanquishing evil. In this case, we're going to use it as a point to reach us up towards the heavens. Right toes are tucked. Begin to press strongly into that left shin. On an inhale, lift the hips up by pressing down with the foot and the shin. And then exhale, release. 2 more times. So really strong action. Inhale, lift and press. Exhale, come down. 1 more time, and then we'll take a little rest. Inhale, lift up, squeeze, 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 and then release. Relax your hands down on either side of the hip. Roll onto the left side as you reach back with right hand, helping to guide right foot across. You'll take right foot, place it on top of left knee, right knee on top of left ankle, and we'll sit in our fire log or Agni Stambhasana. So trying to get the legs to stack on top of each other as best as they can, reaching underneath you, spinning all the meat out of the way, ground down through both shin bones, and flex the feet. As soon as you flex the feet, you get out of that sickling. So we don't want our feet pointed up towards the sky. We want them pointed toward the outside edges of our mat. And you might be staying here thinking, this is interesting, don't really like this. Or you might begin to hinge forward gently. As you do, try to be mindful to keep sitting bones connected, bring chest down. You should feel that really nicely in that right outer hip. Breathe here for a moment. I promised you a rest. I didn't say it would be particularly enjoyable. For those of you who are thinking this isn't a rest, this is awful. And then release your hands down to the mat. Walk them back on either side of your hips. Bring your knees into your chest. Reach hands for underneath the heels and hug knees in. You might be here thinking, this is a great balance. I'm going to work on strength here. Or maybe you begin to bring one leg up. Maybe you take the other leg up, practicing not only the strength of keeping ourselves lifted, but also the flexibility in our hamstrings. You might take note that my legs are a little bit shaky. Maybe yours are too. Maybe you're thinking, this is simple. I've got this. Wherever you are, smile at it. Be glad for it. And then softly bend the knees, crossing the ankles, roll forward, hands connect to the mat. Step the right foot back, and then the left, you're in high plank. Belly in, press back, downward facing dog. Take a moment here to feel out your dog. How is this one different from when we started? Do you feel more balanced? Do you feel more flexible right side to left? Do you feel strong in your own body? Wherever you are, start to think about that movement forward. Bend the knees, chest towards the thighs. Seasoned practitioners, float to the top of your mat. Those of us working on being seasoned, step your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. Shift weight into the right, pick left foot up, step to the outside of left hand. Sink hips nice and low. And we're right back to where we began before. Maybe this malasana is a little deeper. Maybe this malasana is a little more shallow. It's okay. Wherever you are, just take note, pay attention. Inhale, expand arms wide. Exhale, this time, hook left arm underneath right, maybe holding onto shoulders for those of us who are working on opening up our chest, or taking that full bind. Wherever you are, be happy with it. Today is very different than yesterday, and it'll be different from tomorrow. As you root down through the feet, remember how we took those 3 squats before. We'll inhale, press down through the feet, lift up, hips and knees in line. Exhale, sink. Big inhale, lift up, squeeze the belly. Exhale, release. One more time, we'll hold this one just a hair longer. Inhale, squeeze, lift the toes, feel the weight shift back. And then exhale, release. Hands connect to the mat, and we'll take those little movements, shifting hips right and left, allowing some opening to happen just by simply changing the stretch, making it different than it was. When you're ready, hands connect to the mat, start to straighten the legs. Point the toes in, heels out, interlace hands behind the back, and begin to pour the hands over. So as the hands are connected, see if heels of the hands can come together. Relax the head, maybe even shaking it out to find some space. And slowly bend one knee and then the other. And as you do, notice the weight shift right and left. Finally, return hands to the low back, but keep them braided. Inhale, halfway lift, a little stronger than before. Bend the right knee, release hands away from the low back, and twist towards the left as you move right chest a little bit closer to left side body. Be here for a moment. Inhale, come back to center, straighten right leg. Bring hands to the low back. Interlace hands the other way, so opposite thumb on top. Inhale, halfway lift. Press down through the feet, lift the thumbs away from the low back, bend left knee. This time, exhale, left chest moves towards right thigh. Releasing the hands as far away from the back as is comfortable. Inhale, back to center, straighten both legs. Relax your hands down to the mat. Shift your weight right this time. Left knee comes into the chest, and step the left foot all the way back to the far edge of your mat. Bring left knee down. Hands connect. Left ball of the foot is still on the mat. And we're working on hip flexibility, mobility here. Pressing down through that right foot. Begin to bend your left elbow softly. Take right hand towards your right thigh. Fingertips roll out. Take in an inhale and use the exhale to press chest away from the thigh. Roll the shoulder back. Look over that right shoulder. Maybe stay here. This is a good place to practice, or take it a little more deeply. As you soften out of the stretch just a little bit, press right thigh away from you. Roll the shoulder back even more. Squeeze through the glutes. Get active here. And then release. Come back to center. Right hand connects to the mat. Walk the hands in just a half step and begin to heel toe the right foot over towards the left edge of your mat. Sink your shin bone down. Press the left leg back behind you. Keep those toes tucked and then walk back up once more. So maybe you stay here. This is a really great place to practice both opening and strengthening. We're up, we're lifted, we're lengthening. Maybe we take arms overhead, interlace fingers, extend skyward Kali Mudra. Remember, we're going to squeeze those inner thighs, press down with shin bone, and lift our low body away from the mat. So on an inhale, reach up, squeeze up, lift up. Exhale, come down. Inhale again, lift up, squeeze up. Exhale, come down. Last time, and then we rest. Inhale, press up, squeeze, lift, and then release down. Hands connect to the mat. Roll over to the right and use the left hand to help stack left foot on top of right knee, left knee on top of right foot. Again, flex the feet. Make them active. Inhale, roll shoulders back, and exhale, melt in. Seasoned practitioners may have elbows on the other side of their legs. Some of us are thinking, this is interesting. We're going to sit stock straight, because if we're stock straight and we're feeling something, it's working. We're searching for sensation, never pain. Never go too far. There's still plenty of class left, lots of opportunities to open back up. Be here for one more breath. Release your hands to the mat. Rock back on the sitting bones. This time, bring knees into chest. Reach hands out for the feet once more. This time, flex the feet. Take a hold of your big toes. Press chest towards the knees and then lift legs nice and high. Point through the toes, belly is in, and then extend legs wide right and left. Try to balance gently on sitting bones. Activate the arms, so bend the elbows, pull the legs nice and high. Breathe here for 1, for 2, and then for 3. Bring legs back together, bend the knees, tops of the feet come down, press into the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Big toes connect, heels go wide, knees come down, and we'll sit our hips back onto our heels. Releasing chest down to the mat, untucking toes if you haven't already. And then those 5 breaths, just reconnecting with where we are in space. Maybe smiling softly and being impressed that nothing else seems to matter while we're here. Everything else fades away. Maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe you take these last 2 breaths to start to pull away from whatever it is that has your attention. And there's no judgment. There's never any criticism. It's all a work in progress. So moving back in to focusing a lot on that hip mobility. This next little bit might be a little challenging. So if at any time you need to take a break, take it. Hands will walk back a half step. Bend the elbows. Bring the knees into parallel. Tuck the toes. Press down into hands. Inhale, lift, downward facing dog. And then downward facing dog is the best place to see where we've been and understand where we're going. So pedaling through the knees, wiggling side to side, just feeling out where you are. And then pick right leg up. Gaze forward. Draw the knee into the chest. Hold it there on purpose. Feel it start to burn. And then step the right foot down. On an inhale, warrior three. Propel yourself forward. Arms slide back behind you. I should have mentioned it before, but this is a really great place to grab your strap. On an inhale, rise up, Ekapada Tadasana, so one-legged mountain. This will be a good indication of whether you need a strap. Taking your left peace fingers, take hold of those left big toes. And you might stay here. This might be a really great place for you to practice, to build strength, or extend that left leg forward. As you do, find your drishti, your focal point. Stare at it through it. Extend your right arm out to the right, and then begin to rotate your left hip open. Notice I'm not ratcheting the hip up really high. I'm keeping the pelvis square. And this is because our next exhale will pour us forward into our fire hydrant pose. Press down through the right foot, pull the belly up and in. And then begin to extend that left leg back behind you. Warrior three with airplane arms. Notice that range of motion, that semicircle that we just took. It's the same semicircle from the start of class. Inhale, rise up, one-legged mountain, Ekapada Tadasana. We'll do that again. Building some fire here. Bring your left peace fingers to your left big toe. Grab the strap if you need it around the ball of the foot. Reach right fingertips up really high. On an inhale, extend left foot forward. Focusing on your drishti, right hand comes to the outside, left foot mirrors it. On your next exhale, pour forward, bow forward. Breathe, smile. Release your left foot back behind you, turn left hip down, press down with right big toe, upward facing dog quality in the upper back. And then release hands down to the mat. Lift high onto the ball of the right foot. Bring the left foot down to meet it without landing the foot. Tiptoes, lift up high. And then release. Let your feet come down, bending through the knees. On your next exhale, bend the knees, both knees a lot. Release your head into your shins. Wrap arms around the knees. Bend them as much as you need. And then begin to straighten the leg when it feels like a good time. Feeling length happen through the whole back line. Tuck chin into the chest. Maybe rock the head side to side. Maybe shake it vigorously, let go of something that seems stuck. And then return hands to the mat. Seasoned practitioners, maybe you float back. Otherwise, step back. Left foot, right foot, you're in plank. On an exhale, pick hips up high. Downward facing dog. And lucky us, yoga is not only the balance of mind, body, and spirit, but also right and left side. So we get to do that all over again. Pick left leg up this time. Pull left knee into chest. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze until it burns. And then land left foot down. Shift your gaze forward. Roll shoulders onto the back. Propel forward. Warrior three with arms lengthening back behind us. Breathe. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lift up, Ekapada Tadasana. Arms reach up overhead. And again, maybe you stay here. This is a really great place to practice. Balance here. Or take peace fingers to your right big toe this time. Extend right foot forward. Left arm is still high. As you're ready, slowly bring that left arm out to the side and let the right foot mirror that action out to the right. Gaze forward. Melt halfway. Fire hydrant pose. As you do, lift up through the feet and the hands so that they're parallel. And then release that right foot back behind you, warrior three. Toes point down. Reach back through the heel. Inhale, rise, one-legged mountain. Breathe. We'll do it all over again. Peace fingers to the big toe. Extend right foot forward. Think about that half circle. Visualize it here before we even move through it. And bring left hand out to the left, right foot out to the right. Take a moment. On an exhale, melt forward. Keep that left leg as strong as it can be. Press down through left big toe. Release right leg back behind you. Toes point down. Breathe here. Relax, hands down to the mat. Lift high onto the left ball of the foot. And then slowly drag right foot down, both big toes. Maybe you're just on the tippy toes. And then release, heels down. This time, relax, head, walk fingers behind the heels. Breathe. You'll be happy to know we're not doing that again, so smile at that. But we will be burning in a whole new way. As you're ready, inhale, Utkatasana chair pose. Arms come up, tail sits back, inner thighs squeeze, belly in. When you're ready, we're going to play a game of how low can I go? So each exhale will drop us down a little bit. And then a little bit more. And a little bit more. Little bit more. Little bit more until we find ourselves all the way down onto our mat in boat pose. Arms can be into the body, or maybe we extend them out, breathe and smile, reach through the toes. Cross ankles, hands to the mat. On your next inhale, bring legs straight. Left leg is in front of right, or maybe right's in front of left. As long as they're crossed, it doesn't matter. Unwrap the legs, bring big toes together to touch. Inhale, lift up, Utkatasana chair pose. Breathe. Know that we get to do it again. Each exhale brings us a little bit closer to the mat. Remembering that you don't have to do any of this. I can't see you. And even if I could see you, I would say do what you can, not simply what I call. Once you land, you're in boat pose once more. Smile at it. My boat's rocking. Maybe yours is too. Cross the other leg in front this time, knees to chest. Pour hands forward. Lift up. Tailbone rises. Feet are stacked one in front of the other. The head coming down. Be glad that that's the last one we're going to do. Unwind the feet. Hands to the mat. Step right foot back. And then left, you're in full plank. Exhale, lift, downward facing dog. And then bend the knees, 5 breaths in child's pose. If you're in your child's pose and you would benefit from wiping the sweat off your face or taking a sip of water, by all means do that. If you're feeling like, you know what, I'm good for today, I'm cooked, I can come back to this later, by all means, come back later. We have one more fairly energetic, probably the most energetic block of the whole series. And then we'll get into the cool down. This next one will work not only into hips, but into shoulders a bit as well. So it'll be a really juicy one, especially if you're doing this before bedtime. It'll help, I'm sure, relax you into sleep. As you're ready, hands connect to the mat. Walk knees in, tuck toes. Lift knees away from the mat, but hug them into the chest. Think about hopping forward to your hand. And then lift. Press forearms away from the mat. Shoulders roll back. Strongest down dog of our whole series. On an inhale, lift that left leg nice and high, straight as can be. Pour weight forward. You're in Ekapada Balangasana, or one-legged plank. And then roll onto the knife edge of that right foot. Left leg stays lifted. Left hand disconnects. You're in a side plank variation. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you take left hand to the mat as you hug left knee into the chest. Roll onto the inside arch of the right foot. Extend left leg out towards the right. This time we'll do that same thing, maybe coming into a wild thing. As we bring right hand down to the mat, left knee connects to the chest, left hand disconnects from the mat, lifts up, left leg extends, or maybe we bend the knee, drop the toes to the mat, and lift the hips up nice and high. Let's do that one more time. As we come back into our side plank, left leg extends, left hand comes down to the mat, left knee to chest. Roll onto the inside arch of that right foot, extend right hand up. Keep left foot lifted as high as you can. Bring right hand down to the mat, knee to chest. Disconnect left hand, pick up side plank with an extended leg. Or maybe bend that left knee, toes to the mat, lift up, wild thing. From wild thing, we'll take a nice stretch into the IT band, lift back up into our side plank, left leg extends. As left hand comes down, left knee to chest. Now moving through that side plank variation, this time, as we slide the left foot under us, the whole of the left leg will come down onto the mat. Right toes will stay tucked. We'll come down to forearms. Maybe you reach down for that left leg and slide it a little more forward, trying to find a stretch in the outside of your left hip. Breathe here. Maybe this doesn't feel so great, and you can bend that left knee a little bit, bringing the foot in towards the body, making it a little more pigeon than fallen warrior. And then walk hands underneath the shoulders. That toe is still tucked on the back leg. Bring the left knee into the chest. Step the left foot down. Bring right knee down. Inhale, low lunge or Anjaneyasana. As you lift up, if you took those wild things, it might be nice to lift the heart up out of the waist. Reach fingertips high, smile at the heart opening. And then maybe you stay here. This might be brilliant. We get a little bit deeper into right side psoas by bending the right knee, reaching right hand for the ankle, left hand to join, straighten the left leg just a little, hip to heel, and then come forward. If you think about it, not only are we getting strong through our hips, we're getting supple and flexible through our hips. We're also practicing a very challenging balance. Let's inhale back out. And exhale, come in, breathing softly. Keep that right foot in, squeeze, 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 arms release. And then right foot comes down, hands to the mat. Tuck your right toes, slide your left foot straight back up and behind. Bend the knee, open the hip. Relax that left underarm down. And then bring left foot to the mat. Staying here for 3 breaths in our downward facing dog before moving to the other side. Pedaling out the knees, maybe child's pose. Maybe you really love that and you do it again, by all means. This time picking right foot up nice and high. Rotate into one-legged plank. Rotate onto the left edge of the left foot. Right arm lifts, right foot lifts. And again, maybe you stay here. This is a really great place to strengthen, to find flexibility. Or you take right hand down, right knee to chest. Allow the right foot to slide to the outside edge of the mat. Left arm reaches. Left hand comes down, right knee comes in. Rotate out that side plank with extended right leg, right arm. Maybe bending the right knee, bringing right toes to touch. Lifting heart, lifting chest in our wild thing. And we'll do that again. Bringing right hand down, right knee to chest. Disconnecting left hand, right leg extends. Fallen triangle with that lifted leg. And then left hand down, right knee in. Open up. Stay here. Or bend the knee, open the hip. Relax, right hand back down to the mat, knee to chest. Extend right leg out to the left, right hip down. Fallen warrior. If you're like me, you're a little winded, so it's a nice place to open up the IT band and soften after some of our more energetic work. Maybe reaching with that left hand and bringing the leg up if you need the space, or bending the knee and making it a little more pigeon. When you're ready, just finding a place where you can be still for a moment. And we'll take hands back under the shoulders, moving towards our King Arthur once more. Hug right knee into our chest. Look in between the hands and then land the foot down gently. Left foot connects to the mat. Big inhale, lift up, reach up, lift up, Anjaneyasana. Breathing here. Maybe feeling a little bit wobbly. Maybe feeling fully firm and rooted into your mat wherever you are. Maybe feeling firmly rooted into your mat wherever you are. Breathe. Staying here, or bending that left knee. Bring left hand to left ankle, right hand to left ankle. Exhale, straighten right leg. And inhale, come in a little bit deeper. Reaching that foot for the hip, hip for the foot. Softening. Backing out for one more. And then softening in. Smile. Breathe. You're almost done. Relax that left foot down gently. Hands to the mat. Slowly tuck the back toes. Step the left foot up to meet the right. And then reach for opposite elbows. Relax. Release. You've completed the most challenging aspect of class. Maybe toweling off here, grabbing a sip of water. And we'll slowly begin to bend the knees when you're ready. Bringing hips down to the mat. Shimmying to the back edge of your mat just long enough that you can bring your belly down. Getting in to that inner thigh after that nice outer thigh stretch. We'll bring the left knee out to the left. Coming into our half frog. And our arms are in Sphinx, so elbows are under the shoulder. Heart is pulling forward. Maybe you stay here. Some of you will extend that left leg straight and walk it forward slightly, just to get in a little bit deeper. And taking a moment to reflect on practice. Figuring out where you felt the best today. So maybe you felt really balanced. Maybe you felt really flexible. Maybe you felt very strong. Knowing that it changes every single practice. Bring the left arm in front of the chest. The right arm will squeeze underneath. And we'll take our twisted branches. So left arm will reach to the right, right arm will reach to the left, and we'll come down. And so for me, when I first came to practice, flexibility was my thing, but I had no strength. I could not balance for anything. And it's taken quite a few hours on the mat to get me somewhere where some days I feel a little more balanced. Some days I feel a little more strong. But each time I come back, I learn something new about myself. I find myself more connected, mind, body, and spirit. I feel like the more I connect those three aspects of my inner self, the more I see progress in the physical practice. Bend your left knee if it's straight. Take your right hand, reach for your left thigh. As you hold on to that left thigh, unwrap the left arm and bring the left arm over to the right so that you've unwound into a gentle lying twist. Just enjoying that, relaxing into that for a moment, knowing that you've earned it, relaxing into it.
feeling where your body has worked, knowing that it can do amazing things when we give it time and space to do just that. Rolling back over, unwinding the arms, extend the left leg back behind. Drag the right knee out to the right this time. Maybe staying in that half frog or extending right foot, maybe even walking it forward. Staying in that Sphinx just for a moment, noticing right and left, which is my strong side, which is my flexible side. Just taking note of where that's at today. This time walking right arm in front, sliding left arm underneath, and then bringing both hands out right and left. Being here for a moment, maybe relaxing the head down. Just savoring all the blessings of practice, letting it melt into the body. Bending that right knee if it's straight, reaching left hand for right thigh, unwrapping the right arm and rolling on to our backs. Right arm extends, left knee is across the body, and just breathing easy once more. Letting each exhale be a surrender, knowing that we have done the work. The challenging aspect of practice physically is behind us. We're moving towards that challenging aspect for many of us, the being still, the being quiet. Just starting to get those gears in motion here. Roll on to your belly, extend your left leg out. Walk knees together, ankles together, slide hands under the shoulders, and let's move back to where we began. This time with knees together into child's pose. And it's a really nice place to reflect, to notice where our heartbeat is, to notice our breath moving through our body. And then finally, just giving ourselves permission for these next few minutes to be about rest and relaxation, to be less about go, 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 worry, 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 and instead to just be an opportunity to relax. Slowly begin to crawl out onto your mat, coming on to your back. Any props that you might need, gathering them, maybe a blanket under knees, pillow under your head. Taking one last squeeze, so hugging knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side. Some of you might like to move into happy baby. I know I love to end my practice here. Just feeling that joyful release as a child. Release, release, release. And then we'll begin to move towards our Shavasana. So moving towards our Shavasana, allow your legs to extend out, your shoulders to wrap onto the body. Press your heels into the mat and scoop your tailbone down towards your feet so that you feel the spine iron out. Hands come down by our side, feet roll out lazily. Maybe pick the head up, lengthen through the back of the neck. And then just close down the eyes. And as you close down the eyes, maybe that really is the lid softening for you, or maybe you're just staring off at nothing in particular. Take in an inhale and expand the whole of the body. Feel the rib cage open, breath all the way down into the fingertips, into the toes. And on the exhale, release. Feel the front body settle onto the back body. We'll do that 2 more times. So we'll inhale and fill the body like you're a balloon and you're almost full to the point of bursting. And as you let that breath go, just like a balloon, the body changes shape. There's more space as you relax down. This time, the biggest breath that you've taken all day. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And then when you feel like you couldn't possibly inhale anymore, sip in a little more air. And then so slowly, let that air go. Let that breath go and take with it the need to do. Now is the time to balance the body by making ourselves still. By giving ourselves quiet. And by letting our energetic body settle. So we moved quite a bit. We shook up prana up and down the spine. Now is that time to let that energy move to the places that it needs the most, to unstick the stuck places, and to simply let everything go. Let it all be. And I'll call you back when it's time. And as you feel ready, just taking an inhale, and soft exhale out the mouth. Allowing your fingers to slowly wiggle, your toes to move, and then expanding into ankles and wrists until you feel like expanding the arms back behind, maybe yawning, relaxing, and opening the whole face, bending the right knee, press the foot into the mat, bend the left knee, press into the mat, scoop the hips up and over gently as you roll to your favorite side. Use your bottom arm as a pillow. Your left hand comes in front. And you just take a moment here to call yourself back to the idea of wakefulness, of coming off the mat, of knowing and reaffirming for yourself that you can take this same peacefulness off the mat. It's all a matter of only allowing in what we want. Press down with your top hand. Slowly rise up to seated. Take a gentle seat, whatever that means to you. Right hand comes to the chest. Left hand joins it. We just bow our head into our chest, taking a moment to honor our practice. to honor ourself. To think about that connection of mind, body, and spirit, and how it really transforms us. It takes us out of this single plane, out of this physical body, and moves it into the dynamic nature of energy. Connects us to our universal consciousness, connects us to one another and to every living thing in this universe. It is a pleasure and a privilege to get to connect with you, to share sacred space with you. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis, for taking the time to get sweaty with me, for joining me on the mat, and just sharing your good energy, even virtually. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, click the notification bell, and follow me on Instagram for daily insights, yoga challenges, and all sorts of fun things that I could bring your way. Thank you.